This is This Some Bullshit with Danis, and I'm your host, Danis Pelmo. Tonight, we're going to start with how did we get to this point with this podcast and what the journey was. So let me take you on a little. My children, who are my inspiration on a lot of things. My oldest came to me over Christmas time, and she decided that she wanted to give me a gift. My Christmas gift that she gave me was this book called Dad, I Want to Hear Your Story. And so it is a journal about my life that I give her that she can read about and she can learn from about me, about things that she don't know about me growing up and all that other stuff. Son came to me a few months later and he decided to tell me that, hey, I'm having this baby. Dad, I need help. I want you to talk to me and share some of your wisdom with me. And I was like, sure, son, I could do that. And so as we were talking, I said, man, I said, it'd be cool if I put together a podcast. He's like, oh, Dad, he's like, all the stuff that you go through, it'd be so cool to have a podcast so that way you can share with other folks because I got friends who don't have their parents or don't have dad in their lives to be able to bounce ideas off of. Would you be open to talking with them? I said, absolutely. He said, bring it on. I love a good challenge. And so from there, the dream of the podcast began. But then what helped push this thought along was I got grandchildren who probably when they get older, they're going to read everything online or they're going to listen to things online. And I said, dang, you know what? Why don't I do a podcast that can give them this information? So that way, if anything ever happens, they can go back and look at this and they can have something live streaming with my voice, my thoughts, my ideas that they can process and manifest. So we came up with that idea. So from there, I was talking to one of my close friends and he and I was just talking about names and shooting out ideas. And something came out and I said, man, that's some bullshit. And he said, you say that all the time. I said, that's going to be the name of the podcast. We laughed and joked. It was like, that really sticks. I ran past a couple other folks. They was like, that's you right there. So within that, we have two segments that I came up with. So you'll see the segments from time to time. One is called It Is What It Is. And we're going to talk about stuff that you can't really change. It is what it is in life. And the second segment is called Make It Make Sense. Because I say that all the time, but I always curse with that. I always say, man, make that shit make sense. Man, this shit don't make no damn sense. Man, make that make sense. That's part two, one of the other segments. That's how we got to this journey as to starting the podcast. Now, as a brief intro about myself, 55 years old, been on this planet since the 60s, which is great. Love it. Outstanding. Been married, divorced, married again, and got plenty of grandchildren from there. I am a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, the greatest fraternity on the planet, as you can tell from my background. But I'm not here to talk about Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, nor am I talking about Greek life. Will sometimes they come up in subjects? Probably so. There'll probably be some guests on the show that are members of my organization and or other organizations, because I have friends across the spectrum that has a wide range of knowledge and skill sets that I'm going to bring on, which is cool. But it's not here to talk about Greek life and all that good stuff, because I've been in this for 28 years. So I got some skin in the game with the fraternity. So I know a few things. But I'm here to share wisdom from a grown man's perspective, things that we go through, talk about some of the nuances of the world. I want to talk about health, wealth, finances, want to talk about relationships, want to talk about dumb mistakes that we do, want to talk about being an entrepreneur, want to talk about getting out there and finding your hustle, your groove, want to talk about job world, want to talk about all kinds of things. Things that I've done in my life, which helps to give me perspective on that, is I've sold real estate. I've sold insurance. I've worked in IT. I've worked in city government. I've ran for political office. I've been in the music business. So I got some experience and I got some knowledge. I sold, when I was in college, me and my roommates were selling black art when black art was getting popular. So I've done a wide range of things. I've traveled, been to all 48 contiguous states, been up to Canada, been down, into some of the islands, and still making my way around. I've been a caregiver. My dad passed away 4 years ago, and I've been a caregiver. I've been in some of you guys' shoes, where you've had to take care of a parent or a loved one because they've gotten to the point that they need your assistance. I've been through all kinds of things I've faced. So I can bring a wealth of knowledge to the table. And that's what I want to share with you guys. I want to share my wealth of knowledge with some comedy, some humor, with some laughters, maybe some tears. But I want to bring these to you so that way you know who the real person is. I want you to get a good feel for who I am. Am I full of shit? You might think so. You might not think so. It ain't up for me to decide, but I know who I am. So for me to be sitting here talking to you, I must care about you. We're going to have some fun and we're going to get this thing done. Again, my name is Danis Pelmer, and welcome to Just Some Bullshit with Danis. Y'all have a good night, and I'll see you on the next episode.